Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Rage video, where tonight, ladies and gentlemen, actually, I'll tell you what, since we are doing a Motorhead song, I think I need to, get the proper attire on, so, I'll just get myself ready a little bit. This shouldn't be too long, I honestly wanted to, strangely enough, I think by the time I get myself a bigger closet, I kind of wanted to get one t-shirt of every studio album that Motorhead ever did, including one t-shirt from every tour that they did, because my favorite t-shirt that I've got of Motorhead is the Kings of the Road tour, which I don't remember if this is one of the last tours that they did, but it seems kind of it seems kind of like they did, which is kind of ironic because Kiss of Death is actually, this came out in 2006, so Lemmy would have still been on this earth for another good 9 years. So that's pretty. I often which is kind of also again why we will bring us on to this himself, because Lemmy would have been 66 years old when they started this, which again really starts to set in the perspective of just maybe where Lemmy was in his mind, or just the sort of things he still wanted to say, maybe while he still had time. Now, I don't know necessarily about the time when Lemmy was diagnosed with cancer that sadly ended his life. I'm just going to have to double check that, just absolutely to make sure. Because I honestly, I just want to make sure. Diagnosed with Oh, it was 2 whole days before he had before. So, okay, so fair enough, because I was almost kind of under the impression that Lemmy might have had cancer maybe a bit before that, but no, 2 whole days. 2 days? The only thing I could really say to that, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I've lost people in my life to cancer, and the only thing I have to absolutely say about this is that I don't know, is there? No, to be honest, actually, no. I don't think there is, because even if I said what I really think, and even if I meant it absolutely as genuinely and with no means of, disrespecting anybody out there, then unfortunately I still wouldn't even be able to trust myself. So yeah, it's best not. Which is kind of ironic considering what song we're checking out today. Now, yes, I will be checking out the whole of Kiss of Death. Don't you worry, guys. But, ironically, since this is the season of Lent, and I will be peppering quite a lot of Christian rock songs and metal songs out there that specifically talk about religion, I kind of just wanted to talk about one that, well, kind of looks a bit polarizing a little bit. God was never on your side. Now, I know fine well Lemmy never really believed in God or really believed in organized religion generally. I think he only believed it insofar as other people believed it. And hey, Danny Boyle had said one of the most fascinating parts of wisdom when it came to religion over 11 years ago. Danny Boyle does not believe in God, but he believes in people that do. And maybe in some way, maybe Lemmy thought do you think Lemmy might have thought the same way? Maybe he might not believe it, but there's certainly a lot of people that do. And well, maybe we certainly will be able to hear Lemmy's case in full right now. So, if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. So let's begin. God was never on your side. In 3, 2, 1, and...
If the stars fall down on me and the sun refuse to shine. Then may the shackles be undone. May all the old words cease to rhyme. If the sky turn into stone, it will matter not at all. For there is no heaven in the sky. Hell does not wait for our downfall. Let the voice of reason shine. Let the pious vanish for all time. God's face is hidden, all unseen. You can ask him what it all means. He was never on your side. God was never on your side. Let right and wrong alone decide. God was never on your side.
Now, as a Roman Catholic, this is sort of where I have to judge it, maybe on those merits more than anything, because I'd imagine let the voice of reason shine, let the pious vanish for all time. God's face is hidden, all unseen. You can't ask him what it all means. Now, there is a lot to be said that in the Bible that God does not have favorites. And when it even goes on to he was never on your side, I think personally it should come down to maybe out of looking at it as a sense of God was not out for you more than anyone else. He should be out for everybody equally. Now, I know fine well maybe Lemmy just absolutely doesn't really think like that, but again, maybe from my perspective at the very least, he's trying to go on the lines and say that if God really was here, if God really did mean that much to his children, then why did he not just come and talk to them? Or why not have words with them? I mean, he's a divine, immortal, benevolent being. You would have thought that he would have been able to have done it more than any human could ever do. So there's plenty of evidence to suggest that are we just not waste? But then, of course, there's some very interesting things about that methodology as well that I think quite a lot of people often do forget about. Is that it's one thing to say that, well, why doesn't God come down to talk to all of us? But what about, from my perspective as well, is that we should instead be blessed that shall I enter, but only say the word and my soul shall be healed. The idea, and again, this is something I hear in mass like every single week, is, well, like I said, Lord, even though I shall not enter under thy roof, but only say the word and my soul shall be healed. It's if you hear him or you gain some kind of sign from him, and you can attribute these signs to anything. Believe it or not, if you think that if there's some way God is trying to send a message in any sort of way, people cling on to these like visions and gestures of hope because sometimes it's all they have to go on. It's especially when you get. It's really, really important, guys. I want you sort of like to understand is that it's not that I disagree with Lemmy's opinions. But what I am saying is that from my own perspective, it's not that I disagree with him, but rather it's just how I take a look at it. And yes, there are many things about my faith that I'm very uncertain of, and many things that, when you think about them, don't really seem to be adding up in the sort of way that I kind of wanted them to. But is it really meant to be about me? Is it not? Is it meant to be about other people? And when you come to realizations such as that, maybe you get sort of like a clearer insight as to maybe what the whole process of Catholicism is meant to be about.
See 10,000 ministries. See the holy, righteous dogs. They claim to heal, but all they do is steal. Abuse your faith, cheat and rob. If God is wise, why is he still? When these false prophets call him friend, why is he silent? Is he blind? Are we abandoned in the end? Let the sword of reason shine. Let us be free of prayer and shrine. God's face is in, turn away. He never has a word to say. He was never on your side. God was never on your side. Let right or wrong alone decide. God was never on your side. No, no, no. He was never on your side. God was never on your side. Never, 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 never on your side. Never on your side. God was never on your side. Never on your side.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That was God Was Never On Your Side by Motorhead. Also, if it did sound a bit peculiar as well, that solo was actually performed by CZ DeVille from Poison, and it only just it really did set into a little bit of an idea, ladies and gentlemen, just how many people do you think actually worked alongside and worked on songs with Motorhead over the years? Because I know that, yeah, and even as well, you talked about Zoltan Tagalis from Ignite even did the background vocals to this, but it must have been really, really, really subtle as well, because I almost didn't notice that much, but I'll absolutely take their word for it. Now, the other things I just kind of wanted to mention as well from all of this is that they talk about, a lot of the people who just say that the churches and shrines, they're just ways to, extract money, a lot of money from the poor, and literally they say they donate them off to charities far and wide. But does it actually reach them? Does it actually improve their lives? Or and this is again maybe another issue that quite a lot of people do have with the concept of charity, for example, or at least when you go so far as to give it to people from overseas, is that does it actually reach them? Do you ever hear any of these stories or anything like that about people who receive these wonderful things from abroad? It's a highly contentious thing to say, but the only thing to really come out of something like that is, well, maybe perhaps they don't, but that's kind of rather sad, because that's absolutely something that they should be working on. And if they was just open and honest and said that things are not necessarily as great as they appear to be, but surely there are things we can do about it. But then again, of course, the Catholic Church has no like standing army, or neither does anyone from any other other faiths, I should say. And then, of course, they comes to the really interesting conclusion. Lemmy does that. If we all just turned our back on him, then would there be any force to say no? Well, that's easy probably for me to say in the Western world, like in Europe and stuff like that, and maybe even the US, but other places on Earth, ladies and gentlemen, it probably would be the difference between life and death. But would it be possible, literally, if all the people from one country decided to say no, that they don't believe in it anymore, would there be any force to stop all of them? I gotta be right back again. Right, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute menace. Twice in 30 minutes I had to like leave very unexpectedly. So back to what I was talking about. It talks a lot about, again, the people who just again steal and do all this, and it is absolutely true. I will say there's no defending the fact that absolutely faiths have been guilty of this in the past. However, that does not really it doesn't mean to say it's you agree with it. It doesn't also mean to have to say that this has to be right, it's the right thing to do. What I am going to be saying is that if you think it's wrong, then it's not the right thing to do, then is either to call them out on it or just step away. It doesn't mean to say that, you should like abandon your faith completely just because of one bad person. I mean, again, maybe it's because Lemmy did know a lot more about this, and despite of all of the books I've got back here and stuff like that. But what I will absolutely say to on the point of Motorhead is that I think they've got maybe they've got very good reasons to have very stingent and very strong words to say about all this. I mean, I can't blame them for having strong words about it. It's just not the sort of things necessarily I would agree with. But then again, is it also? But then why? But is it the case that I can't disagree with it? Is it because I've been brought up this way since I was able to walk? Is it just because it's been so ingrained into my development and my education and stuff like that? Is it worked in too well and stuff like that? But then again, when you think about it, things like don't kill people or don't steal from people or treat people as you would expect them to treat you, don't these seem like pretty good things at the same time? Or is it just because it's the sort of thing that legally, again, my sort of thing isn't really against like religion. It's more against the law and how, yes, there are rules in place, but people break the laws all the time, and most of the time it's just like that. People will just carry on doing it, and they'll say if you can break the small rules, you can eventually break the big ones. And I don't know, really. it's a very complex issue, and it's one that, again, I'll have to, like, refurbish myself on, because I don't disagree that there are some very interesting points, because, again, if God really saw how bad things were going on Earth, especially because Putin's made cause to raise nuclear threats against the West, and things about, like, the doomsday clock has been moved so it's only 90 seconds to midnight, whatever really there's got to be ways of, like, knowing if that means anything. And yeah, I don't think he turns away from any of these things. I personally, you know what I think? Like I said before, God is not on our side, I agree. I agree that he is on everybody's side, even the people we don't like. And whether we like it or not, maybe that's just how it is. And it should be like that for all sex. He should, don't pick favourites, and you have to treat everybody equally. And I don't get me wrong, I think Lemmy as well saw, like, a certain level of, respectability with that methodology. But I just don't necessarily sure if it's the best idea personally to say that no, he never cared in the first place. But again, we'll be able to go over more of these things in detail when we come to other groups as well. It's just, again, staying away from a lot of talk like this for a while. It's sort of, you have to, like, go back and just to remember the significance, especially of this time of year. So anyway, I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to God Was Never On Your Side by Motorhead. Please make sure to leave all of your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let us know what you guys thought of God Was Never On Your Side for yourselves, and I cannot wait to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.